Hi, it's Pavel from Funkart English. In this video, I want to show you one simple trick that you can use to make your students love reading exercises. Before we start, I want to tell you that I'm really proud of you. Why? Because if you are watching this video now, it means that you are looking for the ways to develop your teaching skills. You could be watching much more entertaining stuff on YouTube right now. Like a grandpa throwing snowballs to his granddaughter.
Alright, that's good. Daddy, that is really good, I promise.
Or a little girl scared of her own shadow. However, you decided to spend this time looking for some new ideas that you can use in your lessons. You deserve a great deal of respect for that. Okay, so let's get back to the main topic. When I started teaching many years ago, I had a huge problem with making my students really engaged in reading exercises. There were many texts in the textbook that I used that were not interesting for the students. There were some texts about sports or computer games that were interesting mainly for the boys, and some texts about pop music or about famous actors that were interesting mainly for the girls. And finally, there were some texts about protection of environment or about being eco-friendly that were quite boring almost for everyone. So I had to do something to change my students' attitude to reading texts. I thought about one thing that all students love to do during a lesson. What is it? What do you think? Yes, that's right. It's playing games, competing, and generally having fun. All students love it, aren't they? Good. So here we have a text. But why is it all marked with a green and red pen? I will explain that in a moment. The text is entitled Maya's New Backpack. It's about a schoolgirl and her new backpack. Is the text interesting? No, not at all. Can we make students interested in it? Yes, of course. But how? It's simple. After reading a text, there should always be a game or a competition based on the text that students read. If students know there is going to be some kind of competition or a game based on the text, they will be motivated to read and understand the text because they want to win the game. So students forget that they are reading a text or studying English. They just want to play and win. Okay, so a typical ESL reading lesson looks more or less like that. First, we have to introduce students to the text. Then, we teach students new words from the text and they start reading. Then, students have to do some exercises. For example, true or false exercises, or they have to answer the questions to the text. And that's it. But I always add one more thing. This is a game or a competition. And for me, the last point is the most important because it's highly motivating and highly engaging for students. Okay, so let's get back to the text Maya's New Backpack. First, we need some kind of introduction to the text. So we can ask a few students about their backpacks. For example, what color is your backpack? Is it light or heavy? How old is it? What do you usually carry in your backpack? Do you remember your first backpack? We can ask quite a lot of questions like that. Another way of introducing students to the text is brainstorming. So we ask students what things they usually carry in their backpacks. And we write their answers on the board. The introduction shouldn't take too long, just 2 or maximum 3 minutes. After introducing students to the text, it's time for teaching new words and reading the text. I always underline the words that I want to teach to students with a red color. So, for example, the first word that I underlined is excited. So I write the word on the board, and students have to tell me the meaning. If they don't, I help them to guess the meaning of this word. So I say a sentence. For example, I feel excited because I'm going to the concert of my favorite band. After translating the word, I ask students 1 or 2 super easy questions with this new word. For example, are you excited when the weekend is coming? Or do you feel excited before a math test? Good. After teaching new words and reading the text, there are usually some exercises under the text that students have to do. For example, true or false sentences, or some questions to the text, or exercises like this one, where you have to choose the correct answer. Okay, and finally, something that I always do during reading lessons, a game. First, you have to divide your class into a few teams, and there should be maximum 4 students in a team. You choose one word from the text, and you describe it. Students must guess which word from the text you are talking about. I always circle the words from the text that I want to use in the game with the green color. If a student knows the word, he just says it aloud and gets a point for his team. However, if he or she says an incorrect word, he loses 1 point. So students have to listen to the teacher really carefully not to lose points. So, for example, here we have a word teacher, so I can describe it to students. It's a person who works at school, and you are looking at this person right now. Or another word, for example, crayons. They are colorful and you use them to draw, and they are similar to pencils. Or maybe a word smile. This is something that people do when they are happy. So you describe a word, students have to guess it, and in this way they get points for their teams. A game like that takes 5 or maybe 7 minutes. But if you always use it, students will know that there is going to be a game at the end of the lesson, and they will try really hard to read and understand the text and to get familiar with it. Try this game and reading will turn into a really fun activity, believe me. If you like this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. That's all for today, and see you next time.